2212. That's right. Beats of All Nations Radio. This is episode number 88. We have a special broadcast going on today. Obviously, we're here on a Friday instead of a Saturday because it is a special occasion. It is a celebration. And every time this time of year comes around, we always do something special in memory of J Dilla. We usually, it's every February we bring in some pretty awesome guests, but this time we're getting pretty close to the source, and probably as close as we'll ever get. So we're welcoming to the show today Slum Village a little bit later. We're excited about having them. We have Dilla Day LA going on tomorrow on Saturday afternoon. More about that in a bit. And in studio right now, oh man, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to have been requested in to do this interview. We have the mother who made the beat we call JD. That is Ma Dukes. What's up, Ma?
What up, though?
Welcome in. So thank you for joining us here today. And you're surrounded by a couple we're surrounded by a lot of good people right now. You have brought in a team with you, and I have my brothers Mike B and Joey, and we just fell in love with JD's sound such a long time ago, and even our early days of DJing I just have memories with Mike B going to Amoeba and shopping up and always looking for anything with Dilla's name on it, JD at the time. So let's just get right into it, because I know you're a busy person. You got a lot going on this weekend. You're going to be talking to a lot of people.
Yes, I am.
Well, let me turn you up a little bit. Actually, if you can move that mic just a little closer to you, that'll be perfect.
All
perfect.
Right.
So let's just kind of take it all the way back for a second. From infancy, Jay just always had a take into music. He comes from a musical family.
He does.
And you even recollect him playing records at the park as a toddler, 45s hanging off his arm and everything, right?
2-year-old DJ.
That's right. That's right. That must have been a sight to see.
Yeah.
You did urge him to take, some more career type steps in high school, and he had the potential and the blessing to be able to get into schools that were not easy for people in your guys' region to get into.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you were still seeing his passion for music and bartering with him that he would... blackmailing him. You go to school and I'll pay for half of your equipment. Is that right?
Yes, we matched it 50%.
Nice. So I guess my question for you is, when did you realize that music and music alone would become a career for him?
I realized it when I couldn't get him to change doing anything, and ever since he was 2 years old, wanted nothing for Christmas. And that was the only time he could really get anything. Was the same thing, music. He played with his brother Earl with whatever toys he would want, but he had no time other than 5 minutes out of the Christmas day, for anything other than music. And that was as a courtesy because he loved his brother. It was always music, He was humming perfect pitch at a couple months old. So we knew that he had an interest, but I never thought that it was consuming him. It was his heartbeat.
Wow, that's incredible. And today, JD or Dilla, his MPC and his Moog sit on display in the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. I mean, how could somebody make their mom more proud?
I'm telling you, that was a pinnacle. I was so happy. It took us 6 years to make it happen, against all odds and all type of pressure not to do anything.
Right.
You can't tell a mom how not to protect your son's legacy.
Right, exactly, yeah. And it wasn't so easy to let go of that gear. What was that process like for you?
Well, that was the easy part. You have people that think that it's you should hold on to certain things, but I'm a true believer that gifts are meant to be shared because it could become bigger gifts if it's touching somebody else's life. Some things, even like love, is to be shared. It's not to just fall in love with self and just hold it in and do nothing, into the universe. But all good things have to be shared to grow and get better.
I love that. So, formerly known as the J Dilla Foundation, can you speak on the purpose of the ongoing missions of the James Dewitt Yancey Foundation?
Yes,
That's
I
what it's called
can.
now, right?
Yes, the James DeWitt Yancey Foundation. We changed the name in 2014 so that he would be honored by his surname as a community activist as far as spreading and encouraging and educating others for the love of music and introducing into the world different types of music, blending and fusing music was his thing, and that's why he has that sound. Our mission is to spearhead education, to enhance academia through music, because music is a healing balm, and it definitely, is a universal language.
Right, right. And what about the J Dilla Music Tech Grant? So that keeps the J Dilla name.
That's my baby. Yes, indeed. That is introduced, it was first introduced into just high schools. It's a grant through Save the Music program. And we have people like, Cadillac is one of the sponsors for that. It was Toyota when I first came along. And then we have another sponsor that's I want to say, I got to think of the name.
Well, there's VH1.
Roland Lifestyle is
okay.
our newest person to come.
Oh,
along.
wow, yeah.
Yes, because they want to see the program continue. It takes funds to gift and to keep this thing going. Anybody can have it in their schools. It doesn't matter how many programs you get. There are some places like New Orleans that have several schools with a high school program, and because New Orleans had such a great response, we started there with middle schools as well.
Gotcha.
And it's catching fire. So now we have the Music Tech Grant in over 80 schools, and the U.S., and we're on the road to make it happen to as many schools as possible. Anyone that's interested, just give us a call at Save the Music. Go online and find out about it. It's very simple. People think that because it's a grant and you're getting $50,000 to $100,000 worth of equipment free, that it's a lot of strings, but it's not. We all want to pay it forward with our youth, and we want them to grow and have choices in what they do. And the music industry has so many choices through electronics and techno, equipment, that parents, don't be afraid. It's not just like, I don't want my son to be a rapper, I don't want him to be this. It's 1,000 careers that right in the midst of this, and the training is there, and the gifts are there. The equipment is there for them to learn, have it in their high schools or their junior high schools now, and to learn. And when they get out of school, they have something to build on. If they want that type of career, they already experienced. They know how to work this stuff. There's so many young geniuses out there.
Mm-hmm.
I just get a kick out of going to visit the schools when they have programs and seeing how far they've come. They are polished and ready, full of excitement, and just super genius young people. Creatives, I call them when I talk to them, because they're truly creatives.
Yeah, because it doesn't just stop in one lane, especially with that kind of mind.
There's no ceiling. So they can go beyond what most men have been afraid to venture into. Dilla was one of those open-minded people that dared to go beyond what the norm was. And that's how they're coming into music and to experimenting and listening and hearing and seeing. Young people, young creatives, they want to know what touches the soul, what makes you want to be involved in something. They want to feel and see the reaction of other people, because they know how to bring it. They know what they feel, and they want to share it. Yeah. They want to be sure that this is bigger than I thought, and it affects everybody. Music is that thing that touches us, It's just like when you go to Russia and you're at a hip-hop show, and it was amazing to be there, and I don't speak the language, and they don't speak English, but they know every word in English to Dilla's songs, every one of them. And it's like, I'm looking like, my God. They don't realize that they already have encapsulated, this here into their hearts.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's an incredible perspective, and now we can see why you followed your son's passion and allowed him to do what he did, because you're a parent that understands kind of the limitations that could be put on somebody that's that talented and the gift that they could really share with the world.
Yeah. And it should be open. Parents, you don't want to get to the point where you held your child back from a passion, because you can make all the money in the world, and if you haven't even lent time to your passion, you're not going to be happy. You'll be frustrated maybe later in life and thinking, well, I should have done this. I could have done this. Well, woulda, coulda, shoulda is the opportunity to make it happen. And parents, just open the world for your child and realize what they're good for, what they can do to make their life better and be happy at the same time. It's possible.
Yeah. Thank you. A lot of Dilla's friends in music referred to him as an alien, right?
Oh, yes.
And the way he would communicate, a lot of times it was through the music.
Oh, definitely.
And so there's, I guess, these theories that in his last recording, Donuts, his last offering to the world, the last piece that he recorded anyway, so much has come out since he's been gone, but his last piece was actually communicating about his demise or communicating to his fans and his loved ones in certain ways, subliminal ways. How did you feel about that?
That's truth. He knew 2 years before he left here. He knew that it was the last days. We just didn't know. I mean, we had so many rush. I felt like I lived at Cedar Sinai, okay, but we had so many days that it was going to be the last day, or was going to be hours before he passed, and he didn't accept that. He would say, "Well, I'll be good in the morning." And they were doctors looking at me, but I trusted him, and I honored him as a man. I respected him as a man, and even though I was his mom, I never tried to tell him what had to be. That was his place to say. So he said he'd be ready in the morning. He said, "No, I'm not." The doctor said if he'll last 3 hours, 8 at the most. He looked at me. He said, "I'll be all right in the morning." He whispered it because he was, not getting to hear really any vocal that you could really hear. I had to lean down to him. He was in 3 or 4 hours, from 20% breathing with the machine to back to normal on his own within hours. So I knew then he was talking to somebody. He knew he had a plan,
Yeah.
and he had to make it happen.
Yeah.
But he loved his fans.
Yeah. Speaking of just that last point that you made, did you notice a shift in his spirit as it became evident he was getting closer to the end?
Sure. We studied Bible every night at 10 o'clock, and he was precise. I'd be worried just looking over. He'd look over, "Isn't it almost 10 o'clock?" And the administrator at Cedars at that time would come to visit us every day between 10:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. before he left the building. He came and visited. I was so honored that he took time out to come and visit us. He didn't know us, he didn't know us from Dick's Hat Band, but he would come and make sure that Dilla was comfortable and that everything was going to, we were good in good places. And it was inspiring because he was so young. And, you figured, I guess he wondered sometime, why me? But then he accepted it, and he just wanted to do his best. Yeah.
And how has that impacted your spiritual life and your purpose here on earth?
Well, thank you. I'm glad you used the perfect word. I was in mourning for like 10 years, unaware. Of course, I thought it was all good. I was going through the motions. But then I was home in Puerto Rico one day, and I just broke down trying to read a note to myself. I want to proofread this letter I had written to him for the Detroit project. And it was only 2 paragraphs, right? So I'm going to read through and just send it off. And I couldn't get through the first paragraph. I just kept breaking down. I'm like, what's wrong with her? She has lost her mind, What is wrong with Maureen? And at that time, yes, I met Maureen, really met Maureen at that time because I was vulnerable. And I had to just release and to let it out, and I didn't know what to do. My husband was, he's in D.C. in the Pentagon, and I'm home in Puerto Rico, and nobody's there, and I'm like, what's wrong with this lady? She's losing her mind, But I had to accept that, yes, my backbone, which he was, a catalyst for me to continue my education and to do the things that that I love to do, and I was a caregiver, and I liked that. I went back to school. I went back to college at 40, and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. He said, well, you know what? Do it for you. And I felt all kind of wrong for it, and he said, no, you do it for you, because I like that you care about other people's children too. So I was like, okay, I can do this, and that's all I needed.
Yeah.
Was for my son to tell me that, because I trusted in how he thought about things, and he was very selfless. So I said, okay, I can do this. And I still am in touch with all those kids. They're adults now, and their parents, and they've all done very well, and they've never forgotten what they learned. But the thing is that you have to be willing to take time to help boost somebody else in the right direction. If you know it's like a thing I always say, where you see the need, the responsibility becomes yours. So don't turn your back on something you can do something about to make somebody else's life better, because it'll just make yours more clear and your purpose better.
Yeah.
So I believe in purpose, and I'm so grateful to have purpose now. Working with Save the Music has given me purpose. And I find myself counseling parents and young creatives together, because parents want to know, well, how do you deal with this thing, this creative student, this creative person that's been in my home all these years, and I didn't know that they were talented. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Well, we only have a few more minutes with you. I do have to ask, what do you miss most about James?
His jokes. He's a prankster at heart, and but just watching him, he's so seriously. His work was like scientific. He was a loner, sort of, and his personality was different. I didn't see until the last tour that he did the other side of my son, because he always kept that quiet personality tamed and in home. And he never wanted me to see him in the show because of course sometimes the rap industry has lyrics that he didn't want his mom to know he knew or said, and of course I knew he did, but geez, my mom was pretty good at that her own self. But just being respectful he was, and I saw how the world embraced him, so I understood then why he said he didn't learn how to walk again, because during his sickness he had to learn how to walk 3 different times, relearn to write, relearn to speak, because when your body shuts down and you're not able to swallow or to speak or anything, these things have to be done all over again, just like from infancy. And I watched that and lived it with him. So he was determined, and he got through it. But that last time he said, I didn't learn to walk again, but I'm going on this tour because I promised my fans, and I keep my word. So yeah.
Yeah, we just saw this week, both of his daughters together featured on a video, your granddaughters.
Yes.
And that's a miracle in itself altogether. And it was just really cool to see them talking about their own careers, their goals, and pushing forward the legacy of their father, saying it's going to be some hard shoes to fill, but just having that memory. What do you want JD's legacy to look like for future generations, not just in your family, but just in general? We just celebrated 50 years of hip hop, and it's Dilla's 50th birthday.
Yes, it is.
So the question is what do you want JD's legacy to look like for future generations?
For future generations, I want the cohesiveness of family to be on the front of our minds like it used to be. Sometimes we don't take time out to visit or to call or speak with our relatives. Everybody's life has changed, and it's fast-paced, and you do things to survive, but never forget your heritage. And I think that to be bonded with family is everything, because in the end, it doesn't matter who's around you. Family is everything. They're going to always have your back. And it only makes it stronger and better for future generation. You have something to hold on to.
Yeah, I like that. So Dilla Day this Saturday, it's going to be celebrated in LA. What was your first thought when you really saw how well received Jay was here in LA?
Oh my God, I can't believe it. It felt so good. It was the actual feeling, to be amongst people that were creatives themselves, but were open, to it. And it was like nothing that you had to hide. It was like like you'd known these people. Every time I would go to an event, it's like you'd known these people all your life, and everybody was one. Whether you were dancing, celebrating, singing, whatever, it felt good to be in the midst of it. It was something that you would never want to take away from your life. And my time here in L.A., the few years I lived here with Dilla, I just thought I would live here forever. It was no place better for me.
Yeah, word. Well, yeah, it just seems so natural for him to take this as his second home, as we say. So tomorrow is Dilla Day, February 10th, and we're going to have features like Slum Village, who we'll be speaking to momentarily. J-Rock is going to be in the house, my favorite DJ and probably the favorite of a few people in this room. And that's going to be going down at 930 Mateo Street, Los Angeles. And fans are going to actually have an opportunity to meet Ma Dukes. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed.
Cool. And what do you expect from the event, Ma?
A good time.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I just want to thank you just for joining us and just sharing with us your son, his gifts, and allowing him to pursue that when he, took that step and just that drive that he had that we've all kind of learned about. And I mean, it's one thing to be a fan while he was here, but the appreciation and everything that I've learned since, it just gives me even more, just more respect and just more love for the artist that he was here on Earth. And he's probably making some pretty dope beats up there with with Amp and Botin and everybody else that has
they
gone.
Definitely got a plan.
yeah. But yeah. So thank you so much on behalf of Beats of All Nations and Dublab. And we're gonna get into this interview that we did with Slum Village over the last couple of days. So everybody check out Dilla Day tomorrow, and we'll give you the address again while we talk to Slum. So thank you everybody for joining us here. We still got a little bit more time, and Slum Village is up next.
All right.